Alrighty then. Let's continue with the North American swing. Unfortunately, we had to cancel a week prior to go and the Circuit of the Americas, but we're back here in Formula 2 at Mexico City for round 31 and 32 for the Breakout Racing League Formula 2 Championship and the Mexican Grand Prix. Sitting here at over 2,200 meters above the sea level, Mexico City, the capital of Mexico, is known for the Templo Mayor, a 13th century Aztec temple, along with the Plaza de la Constitucion, but also the other Roma Hermanos Rodriguez. The 4.504 kilometer, 2.674 mile circuit, named after Ricardo and Pedro Rodriguez, after Ricardo Rodriguez sadly died in the 1962 Mexican Grand Prix practice session, and unfortunately, not too long after, his brother did as well, both at this famous track. They decided to name it after the two brothers. The track has 17 corners, 7 to the left and 10 to the right, with 3 DRS zones at the exit of turns 17, 3, and 11. And now the one-shot qualifying is underway. We have some new faces, and we have some pretty existing ones that you've seen over the course of the season so far, like Phantom, like Meanfern, like Stig, like B-Dunk, Taylor. Unsighted. Like unsighted Port and also Taylor as well. Let's go through. Look, right now B-Dunk has the upper hand. Both high-tech cars are ahead going through the first split, with Phantom kind of grabbing a little bit more ground in the dams, with Taylor not behind him, with Fern actually grabbing a little bit more ground there in the, I believe there's a Compost. I'm sorry, that's the MP, yeah. Well, I'm a little new to this, so give me a little bit of a helping hand and a little bit of a leniency if you don't mind myself. Let's kind of watch through as these drivers go through who can be on pole. We already see Unsighted Port has already locked up the championship, and the Universiosi. We'll see who can be on pole here for the Mexican Grand Prix feature race. It's going to be fun indeed to see. We'll see who can have some fresh faces and who can be the championship, I guess, I'm not, race favorite, I should say. With Taylor right now leading and provisionally on pole. With Stig not too far behind. So on board here with Taylor on the penultimate corner now, in the final corner for Taylor. He's the runner-up in the championship, but he'll be on pole for the Mexican Grand Prix if he can keep it clean. Yes, he does. It's Taylor ahead of Fan and ahead of Fern, ahead of Phantom. Once he crosses the line with Ron and Ardell, 5th and 6th, Stig, B-Dunk, and Port did not finish. Stig and B-Dunk were disqualified, both in the high-tech, and Port did not finish the lap. So then, qualifying's done. We're almost done already. Taylor on pole with a 37.5. Behind him for almost a second. Behind him by almost a second is Fan and the Camp Boss ahead of Fern, Phantom, Ron, Bardell, Stig, B-Dunk, and Unsighted Port. That's your top 9 in qualifying here in Mexico City. Well, then it's dry. We'll see what drivers decide to go on. What tire ahead of this Grand Prix. The super softs and the softs are the car compounds available. Let's see what tire everyone will decide to go on to for the feature race. You have to make one mandatory pit stop, so that means it's going to be all up to play for ahead of today's Grand Prix. Looks like everyone is so far looking to start on the softs. But obviously, since the wet weather, raining, and qualifying, the tires are still a little bit more to play with for the drivers. They can have a little bit more leeway with the drivers and the compounds they want to run. Port decides he wants to ready up, as well as FinFan and Taylor, and everyone else has decided to start on those softs. So, everyone will have the same compound going into the race. It's been a decent amount of time ever since Japan, not too far away, but it's been at least 2 weeks since the last time we've seen Formula 2 racing here in Breakout Racing League. But we're going to be back for Mexico with a Dams on pole with a Campos in second. It's going to be Taylor ahead of FinFan, ahead of Fern, ahead of Phantom, ahead of Ron, ahead of Ardell, ahead of Stig, Bdunk, and Port, our championship winner. We'll see, though. So, obviously, 17 corners here in the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. So, it's going to be quite a lot of opportunities to see these drivers take the Formula 2 cars around this beautiful circuit. It's fun. We saw a lot of action in Realistic not too long ago. Let's see if we can have the same sights here today in the Formula 2 race. Some of these guys actually did race in Realistic, like Taylor, like FinFan, like Ron, Ardell, and Bdunk, and Unsighted Port, all raced in the Realistic race not too long ago. They're going to have to adapt from those cars back to the Formula 2 cars ahead of the Grand Prix here today. But we also have some new guys going in. This is the first time they've started in a Formula 2 race so far this season. FinFan is new with the his first start here. Ardell as well with Bdunk. So 3 new drivers compared with 6 returning from the rest of this campaign. We'll have to keep an eye on Unsighted Port. We all know he's pretty quick, especially on the first lap as well. He can get any position he wants. He just has to play it safe. 20 laps here at Mexico City for the Formula 2 race here for round 31 and 32. 31 being the feature race, 32 being the sprint. As Taylor comes around the penultimate corner now, turn 16 into 17 for the first time, this time in race conditions. Hopefully next time it will be at full race conditions and not under a safety car. We'll have to see. 9 drivers this race, only 8 of them, actually all of them get points. Only 8 of them can have the reversed grid have effect on them. Who can be on reverse grid pole and who can grab the victory ahead of the feature race today for Formula 2. Unsighted Port will take his spot in the 9th grid position, and rounding out the grid on the formation lap will now flip to leaders ahead for the lights sequence to commence. The lights are on. And it's lights out and away we go. That's a drive-through penalty for both dams. Both dams have jumped the start. Phantom and Taylor have jumped the start. That's going to mean the race down to turn 1 is actually for down here. Ron is now provisionally in the lead with FinFan with Stig with Ardell. That's Unsighted Port already up a couple of positions. They go a couple of breaths. Now look at that contact between the Prema. Here goes down the inside. Look at the late braking for FinFan. He goes a little bit too deep. Going to go wide. Ron goes around. That's going to be around. Bdunk goes spinning around in turn 1. That's going to be FinFan from Ardell behind Ron, and Stig sits right now in P6, provisionally in P4. They're not done up here. FinFan is going to fight around, but not close enough. Look at that down the inside. Ardell, he's off the back of Ron in the Trident, and the Prema goes around in turn 4. Not a great start for Ardell and for Bdunk. That is also Finn around the outside of Unsighted Port. Like we said, Port's going to have a great start on the restart. He went from 9th to 5th. Now Stig, he's up in the provisional P2, and Ron makes a tiny mistake. He's actually going to have a run on the Trident of Ron. These two had not great feelings for each other a couple last of races, especially at Singapore, if I can remember correctly. So both drivers in front, both dams have both jumped the start, and what's even worse is now Taylor has a 3-second time penalty as well. So then, turn 1 is now started to dimmer down and simmer down, but now it's, oh no it's not! Ron spins around at turn 14 into 15, so now Stig is your leader, and Unsighted Port speed 2! Phantom now speeds in the pit lane. Phantom's actually, so let's see how that works now. Now it's going to go down Unsighted Port. He went from 9th. Kenny tried to grab the lead. Taylor stays out, so he will be provisionally leading. Yes, he goes down the inside of turn 1. Unsighted Port in the Universiosi. He will get ahead of Tyrell Stig. But don't look now, not too far behind. Fern is not too close at all. It looks like he was going to make a charge at the exit of turn 3, but the traction just wasn't there for Fern. Going down into turn 4, if you look now, the top 3 Port, Stig, and Fern. Excluding Taylor, because he obviously has that drive-through time penalty for jumping the start, having to go to pass through to the pit lane. He's going to have an issue with the rest of them, compared to the rest of the drivers. Obviously going to have a little bit, make one more stop, as the standings are now back up to where they should be. So then, as we return back, we should see Taylor in the pits. He has 3 laps to serve that drive-through time penalty, or drive-through penalty as seed. So let's see if he will go in. His teammate did a lap prior. He will actually stay out for 1 more. So Taylor has to serve it this time by. So that means Port will be your provisional leader once again. Port actually now sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, 27.5 for the Univirtuosi. He went from 9th to 2nd, presently P1. So let's see how he plays out. It looks like everyone else has not made any pit stops, which is good. We have not seen any damage, any collisions. We have seen a couple of collisions, but none that are too detrimental. We saw Ardell spin on the back of Ron. We saw a couple more collisions, especially through turn 1 and into the second sector, but everything all played out. We have unsighted report from Stig, from Fern, from FinFan as your top 4, with B-Dunk top 5, Ardell 6th, Ron 7th, Phantom 8th, and Taylor right now is technically 9th since he has a drive-through and has not served it yet. But on track, he is P1. Phantom has been given a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings and track extensions that will be applied to his race time. That is now the second driver, actually the third driver. The third driver, him and his teammate Taylor, both have 3-second time penalties, along with Ardell in 7th in the Prema. Track limits are going to be a big thing here today, trying to make sure you keep your car within the white lines. It's obviously not the curb like you see in real life. You have to keep all 4 tires within the white lines, or you'll grab a track limits warning. Speaking of track limits warnings, we may see some from like that. Fern a little bit too deep into turn 12, but looks like all is good there. To 13 to 14, now into 15 as the quick sequence of corners in the stadium section. What a great sight it is for not only us, but the Mexican fans, as Taylor does come in to serve his drive-through time penalty, relinquishing Port from the lead. Like we said, he could possibly make the charge from last to first. He has done that. He now started from 9th. He's now in first with Stig P2. Fern P3 on the podium slots, not too far behind, 1.2 seconds. It's going to be the compost of FinFan trying to chase down the MP Motorsports machine of Fern. Looks like a lot better of an entry through 1, 2, and 3 for FinFan, gaining about 2/10 on the car in front, and that being Fern. Let's see if he can make a charge in the coming laps. DRS has been enabled this time by, so you'll have DRS of the car in front. Fern goes a little bit too deep into 4. That's going to compromise his line through 5 into 6. So possibly FinFan could actually use the DRS to his advantage. Phantom's been given another 3-second time penalty. That is now, his total is at 6. But with that mistake, now the gap between Stig and Fern is now 1.2. So Fern's not longer have DRS, but FinFan may, with obviously 0.6 of a second between him and Mean Fern up in front. Fern a little bit compromised through the S's. Now, through the DRS zone, into turn 12 we go. Not close enough for FinFan, but he's going to have a look. Oh, too deep on the brakes for FinFan. Goes way too wide. But no compromise, no corner cutting has been made. 3-second time penalty for unsighted port. He's already 3.7 seconds ahead of Stig. That's not going to affect anything for the moment. It could later on if we get a late race safety car. Port now has another fastest lap, 27.1. He's gone fastest every single time he's been out in clean air. Now, the DRS. So detrimental because there's no battery deployment or fuel mix to play with in the form of the 2 cars. Can FinFan close on Fern? Close enough. He's gaining on the MP. He's gaining on the MP. He's not close enough unless he sends it down the inside. No, he won't. Thinks better of it. Fern goes a little bit too deep, though, into 1. He's going to compromise his line through 2 and 3. Fern needs to get a better exit, though, than FinFan to try to stay ahead. It looks like he does get a tiny better exit, but with the DRS, FinFan's going to get the better run down into turn 4. He's going to pull out to the right-hand side. By side, turn 4, around the outside FinFan will go, and he will grab that P3 away from Fern. So now, but now Fern's not going to give it up yet. Fern will not give up. He'll try to make sure he will not let FinFan go too far away. Stig only gained about a 10th or so from FinFan and Fern battling that entire lap. So Fern will have to try to recuperate and try to fight back to FinFan. That's a yellow flag, and that's going to be Ron Swanson, I believe, spun around. Yes, it is. There's that damage to the Trident. No, it is not. Not that I can see visually. but that actually will put him between the two Dams cars. I cannot see any damage visibly on the Trident, so it looks like everything is all good for Ron. But Fern is not done yet. He's still about 0.8 of a second behind. He still can fight back at FinFan in the Compost. That's a yellow flag again. That, this time, is going to be Ardell spinning round on the penultimate corner. Turn 15 to 16. Looks like he does not have any damage that I could see visibly on the Prema, but everything looks all good there. FinFan and Fern fighting back to this battle for P3 of the podium positions. Fern has gotten up close a bit, so has FinFan. He's closed up about a couple tenths or so on Stig in front, now down from 1.4 to 1.1. So FinFan is closing on the back of TRL Stig in the high-tech. Can he try to, or I'm sorry, not the high-tech, the ART. Can he try to get P2 here? We saw FinFan as Ron and Phantom are battling in the first couple of corners. That's a 3-second time penalty for these two. They're still side-by-side exiting turn 3. With the DRS activated, it goes to Phantom. He's going to try to go to the around the outside. It is for turn 4. Looks like Ron got the better run. Still going to run the outside. Still side-by-side. Ron's going to have the more preferred line, but it's going to switch back into Phantom's corner for turn 5. Now into 6. Everything is working all good, and Phantom now grabs position up to P8. Ron's down to P9. But Ron's not going to fight back yet. B-Dunk's actually gotten really close to the back of Fern in P4. About 0.3 of a second, now even closer than that. So can B-Dunk try to go and represent high-tech? And Ardell's been given a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting and track extensions. He's now in that fight with Taylor, Phantom, and Ron up for battle for 6. That's going to be DRS, though, for B-Dunk in the high-tech. And it's not going to be DRS from Fern. Actually, it will be DRS. He barely got to the DRS zone from FinFan in front. Both cars will still have DRS, but B-Dunk is still gaining. He's still gaining. He's going to the right-hand side for the inside for turn 1. Late on the brakes, looks evenly for those two. Maybe more advantage to the MP. Still side-by-side for turn 1 and 2, and Fern will have to negate the position, and will go to P5 on the grid. B-Dunk is on a charge, trying to fight after FinFan. B-Dunk will have the DRS, so will Fern, but will Fern fight back onto turn 4? No, he won't. He's too far back. B-Dunk will have to P4 for now. But B-Dunk actually has now gained almost in the DRS range of FinFan, so if FinFan's not careful and doesn't get a move on to try to go catch Stig, he's going to be fighting and looking behind more than forward, 1.2 seconds to B-Dunk compared to 1.1 up to Stig, I'm sorry. But FinFan looks like he is actually in the DRS zone of TRL Stig in front of the ART. The ART being under pressure right now from the Compost. He looks like he's having the most pace. He looks like the second or third fastest car on track. Taylor's actually gaining a lot on Ardell. He's now within the DRS range of the Prema. He's going in the S section right now, so we may have a little bit longer to see that Prema and that Dams battle. Looks getting closer, though. Not close enough. Into turn 12. I'm going to have to go look back. Here comes FinFan, though. He's going to have the DRS. He's going to be 0.6 adrift from the ART in front. He's going to have the DRS. He's not going to have any other momentum to go after it. He's just going to have to go have that strong DRS down the main straight here in Mexico. He's going to pull to the right-hand side. He's going to go down the inside. Both drivers brake around the same time, but it looks like FinFan is late on the brakes. He goes a little bit deep, but he's going to keep that position up in P2. Put that Compost back up into P2 like he was not too long ago. Stig is now going to be under pressure from B-Dunk if he's not too careful. Looks like Stig didn't get the best run out of turn 3, and that's going to be Ron into the pit lane and retiring from the session. 3-second time penalty again for BRL Ardell. That's going to be probably his... Let's go look at the time penalties. That is going to be 14 seconds already for Phantom, 9 for Ardell, 3 for Taylor Clan in the Dams. Stig fan here. He could possibly look for a move down into turn 12 if he's not careful enough. FinFan would be, but I don't think he will. He's going to be perfectly safe going into this occasion for turn 12, but he's going to have to look out. And the long straightaway down into turn 1 is going to be a prime opportunity for Stig and B-Dunk, but for that rather, he's actually not too far away either. FinFan could be a really sitting duck here. He can go from 2nd to 4th in about 3 seconds, if not careful enough. Going through turn 16 into 17 to complete lap 9, or lap 9. Look at FinFan aggressively breaking the toe. That's a yellow flag again. That is actually going to be the Prema of Ardell. He spun round, I'm pretty sure. And look at this, FinFan, he's still trying to make it. There's not enough straight. Stig thinks better of it and backs out. He has another chance, but FinFan goes too deep, but that's going to compromise Stig's line. Look at B-Dunk, how far back is he? He's going to try to go figure out how we can do that now. Now FinFan, now compromising Stig's line, is not going to give him any favors from Stig in the coming races. But Stig, now because he's been compromised, cannot challenge FinFan into turn 4. B-Dunk locking up the rears. Time penalty for Taylor. That's now 6 seconds to Taylor in the Dams. What could have been for him, it was a pole position and a 1-3 actually for the Dams cars. Both jump started at the same time. That is the yellow flag again. That's actually Phantom. And turn 3 has spun around. Is there any damage to the Dams? I don't think there is. Not that I can see. He was in the DRS zone in range of Ardell ahead, but unfortunately with that spin is no longer there. Stig, though, and this battle for P2, FinFan, Stig, and B-Dunk are not separating each other very much. Yellow flag again. That's going to be Ardell once more. What happened to the Prema? Looks like he spun around as well. Is there any damage to the Prema? Yes, there is. There is no left side wing. So that's going to really compromise him in downforce levels for the Prema. Oh, that's very close and tight between these two. Phantom trying to get past Ardell. Ardell has not enough downforce to try to defend from the Dams of Phantom. And Phantom will go up into P7 before Ardell does get past into the pit lane. But with these three, they have not made any moves, so could we possibly see a move into turn 4? That's going to be a corner cut from B-Duck, and that's going to be his third and final warning. He now has a 3-second time penalty and multiple warnings for track extensions. But look at FinFan. He's doing all he needs to do, grabbing the best runs he has to stay ahead of these two drivers, which is all he needs to do indeed, and it's working out. Coming across lap 9, Stig gets on the curve a little bit, going into turn 7, loses the rear of the car a bit, saves it, but that's going to compromise his run. It looks like it actually compromised B-Dunks more than it did him. Is now faces down and trying to go after FinFan. Let's go back here, though. 2.1 seconds is the gap between them, those three in front, B-Dunk, Stig, and FinFan with Fern. Fern was actually in P2 not too long ago. What has possibly happened with Fern? Is he trying to save his tires, or he's just not up to the pace of these guys? But he has a little bit of a gap and a buffer, 11.4 seconds to Taylor behind in the Dams, which he has about a 20-second buffer to his teammate in the other Dams, the sister Dams. But up front, it's all been unsided port. 10 seconds gap between him and FinFan, who's actually now under pressure, going a little bit wide through turn 17. That's going to probably allow Stig and B-Dunk for that, rather. Can he try to grab it around the outside, going down the front straightaway, side by side? They're going to have DRS to the ART and to the high-tech, and it's going to get freight train down. B-Dunk may try to get both of these guys at once. He has got both of these guys at once. Down in turn 1. He goes too deep. Has he gone too deep? Yes, he has gone too deep. And B-Dunk looked like he was trying to grab it. Oh, contact, spun around, contact with the wall for B-Dunk and with FinFan. And after all that, it went from hero to zero in about 3 corners for B-Dunk and the high-tech team, as well as FinFan and the Compost. Well, that puts Fern about 3.2 seconds off of Stig, and Stig comfortably in P2 if he doesn't light up his rear tires. That actually puts Taylor into the mix with this as well. He's now about less than a second behind B-Dunk. Does B-Dunk have any wing damage? Because we didn't see any visually, but he could still have some on the front wing. If he does, we'll see it here. Doesn't look like he does. It looks like his front wing is pretty sturdy. It looks like he may be alright. The high-tech. Into the barriers at turn 3, like we saw in the realistic race. That would have ended your race. But these F2 cars are a lot more sturdy than the Formula 1 cars we see today. And B-Dunk is still in the race, not too far behind, 1.0 seconds behind FinFan to be exact. But he's now going to have to look backwards more than forwards with FinFan's, I guess, rival. I'm sorry, from a couple... I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, B-Dunk almost loses it on the curb. FinFan comes into pit. Taylor goes past both of them and up into P4 for the Dams. About 10 seconds adrift from Fern. 3.2 adrift from Stig, who's about 11 seconds adrift from Port. So pit stops are going to be triggered now. Onto the Super Softs for Ardell. And now onto the Super Softs for FinFan as well in the Compost. So he's going to try to see if he can get to the end on those Super Softs. Looks like we look at means Fern's left front tire. It doesn't look too pretty, especially with the right front tire as well. Let's look at our leader unsided Port. his tires don't look too pretty either, and he's been in clean air the entire race. So, could we possibly see a possible pit strategy play start working now? Almost 12 seconds ahead of the pack is unsighted port. He's done everything right so far, about halfway through this feature race. When will he take that first stop? He will go in now. So he'll split the race almost in half. Done about 12 laps, now 13 on to lap 13. He's done 12 laps on the set of softs. He's going to now go on to those super softs, as Ardell has set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix with a 26.5 for him, and 1 point as well. So Stig stays out. Phantom's been given a 3-second time penalty. Fern stays out as well. So Inside is going to have a quick pit stop and try to figure out if he can get ahead of these guys by the undercut. These guys are going to stay out longer and try to see if they can kind of use that older tire to their advantage, which I don't see how well that could work out. We'll see, but he's already about 12 seconds in front. That is a yellow flag, and I think that's Ardell again. Around at turn 3. No damage this time to the Prima. No, there is damage to the Prima. I was incorrect. He has no left front end plate on his Prima, so that is going to be unfortunate. That's a crash into the wall again for Ardell again. Luckily, he stays in the Grand Prix, and I don't think he has sustained much, if any, damage at all from that, but we were on board with that and saw that firsthand. He may have damage in the Prima. That is not too good for him. Well, let's see what's back up the front with Stig and Fern. Will they come into the box? Stig about 3 seconds ahead of Fern. He will go in this time. Will Fern go in and follow him? No, he won't. Fern will stay out 1 lap longer than Stig. Taylor, he's about 8 seconds adrift from the guys in front of him. Will he come in this lap? No, he won't. He'll stay out and go 1 longer as well. B-Dunk, will he go? Yes, he will. B-Dunk will make his first pit stop and only pit stop of the race, following suit with the other high-tech, and has the yellow flag. And Ardell has been given a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Are we possibly seeing a retirement? Yes, we have. Ardell is out of the Grand Prix. So, super softs to both high techs, as Phantom now jumps ahead of B-Dunk, as he's trying to get a little bit of temperature to the tires, I think, on his 13-lap-old soft. So he's going to see what he can do. Try to go a little bit longer. Fern right now your provisional race leader, but he has not stopped yet. Unsighted port is still your race leader. He's about 3 seconds adrift from Taylor Dobbs, and behind him 14 seconds is the gap between first and second. Unsighted port and Stig have both stopped and done their mandatory pit stop in this race. So that looks like that may be your finishing order as it stands, with about 5 and a bit laps to go here in Mexico City. We could possibly see Unsighted Port winning the feature race yet again. His dominance, he was supposed to have to finish, I believe it was 8th a week ago in Coda to win the championship, but due to it being canceled, it was then prioritized that he was then the champion off of default. That is now the fastest lap of the Grand Prix at 25.7 for the championship winner and the champion of F2 in Season 6 of BRL. He now will go up to the race lead with Fern and Taylor both stopping. Stig will come across turn 17 and across the line to go up into P2. Fern is not going to be too far away. He's going to have definitely lost a bit of time due to the overcut that he tried to pull, but it didn't work out too well. Here comes Phantom on his 14-lap-old softs. He has actually stopped once, I believe, in this race already. No, he hasn't. He is the only driver yet to stop. He's gone a bit deep into turn 1, so he's going to try to see if he can hopefully hope out for a safety car and have the freshest tires, but it doesn't look like it will happen. All these drivers are too spread out. 15 seconds the gap between first and second, 7 seconds the gap between second and third, and about 2 seconds the gap between third, fourth, with about 3 seconds from everywhere else, except for the gap between 6th and 7th, which is 1.1 between B-Dunk and FinFan. So it looks like everyone's all spread out, getting to a rhythm and ready for the end of the feature race. It has been a quite comfortable lead for Insider Port, about 15.5 seconds, and has grown ever so mightily. He's been setting fastest laps after fastest laps, pretty much proving why he has been the champion and the one to beat the entire season at Bay. With Stig now going through the turn 13, 14, 15 complex in the stadium section. All's looking smooth for the Uni Virtuosi driver, with FinFan trying to chase after B-Dunk. He's the closest gap on track other than the two dams, but Phantom has to pit pretty soon, if not now. Will he pit this time by? No, he won't. He'll stay out. B-Dunk's been given a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings in track extensions, which means he'll have to figure out on penalties if he can beat FinFan. But these two dams side by side down the front straightaway. That's Taylor on the right and Phantom on the left, but Phantom has now been overtaken by his teammate into turn 1 pretty easily. These guys were 1-3 to start the race. They both jump-started, and that instantly started their race into a downward spiral. Phantom right though is still at risk for being P7, because obviously his interval is about 3 or 4 seconds or so to B-Dunk and FinFan, and he still needs to make a pit stop. So Taylor's already made his pit stop. He's rebounded to P4. FinFan trying to figure out the best he can to get past B-Dunk, but he may not even have to because of the time penalties. Let's go look at the time penalties, actually. Time penalties, 17 seconds to Phantom, with 9 to both Taylor and to B-Dunk, with 3 seconds to Unsighted Port, meaning the gap between first and second, if it stands like this, will be about 13.5 seconds between Port and Stig, with Fern taking P3. Taylor will take P4 ahead of B-Dunk, but due to his penalties, FinFan will actually grab, I think, could be both of them actually. So FinFan could grab his first podium of the season on debut. Right now, he is the best, other than B-Dunk, right now with his penalty situation, he is the best debut driver, as Phantom does finally come into the box and relinquishes. He's now getting a 5-second time penalty for speeding the pit lane. That's not going to help his case at all. FinFan is now within DRS of B-Dunk. He's going to try to figure out if he can get past on track. He doesn't want to worry about the penalties. He'll do it the best he can as a racing driver. He doesn't want to just wait and be patient. He wants to get it himself. B-Dunk locks up into turn 1, goes a little bit deep, relinquishes his line just a tad. FinFan's going to try to get back the better run into turn 3 and turn 4 with the DRS especially as well. B-Dunk's got the DRS off of Phantom, so he's not going to be for the pickings this time by. But with about 3.5 laps to go, it's getting closer as Unsighted Port's about to cross the line to start lap 18, so it's getting closer and closer. The clock is ticking for this feature race to get the move on, but we still have a sprint race to go. Don't go anywhere. Right after, you'll see the reverse grid. Right now, the reverse grid pole will be Ardell. He will have pole position for the reverse grid. Fern's been getting a 3-second time penalty. That's not going to hurt him out too much, with Taylor having 9 seconds behind him. FinFan almost lost it on the curbs, going through turn 9 into 10. So, I'm sorry, turn 10 into 11. So, luckily he saved that and is still trying to fight for P5 on track with B-Dunk. But at the moment, it still looks like it will go to FinFan regardless, due to the penalties that B-Dunk has applied to his race time, 9 seconds to be exact. Let's go look at the penalties again. Now that's 17 seconds to Phantom, with his 5-second time penalty that was applied for speeding in the pit lane. 16.3, the gap between first and second. The only two drivers that has not gotten a time penalty being FinFan and Stig. Let's see what they can do, because that's going to be if a late race safety car comes out, and either this race or the sprint race, it still can possibly change. You never know. There's still about 2 laps to go, as Port's now coming around turn 11 onto the DRS, the third and final DRS straight on the lap. Speaking of DRS, FinFan has DRS again on B-Dunk. He's trying to kind of just slightly gaining on the high tech, but just not close enough to make a move. He just needs to get the better traction where it matters, and everything will play out just fine for the Campos. But he's trying to do the best he can, driving the number 9 for Jack Aitken, as it were, with chasing down B-Dunk in the high techs livery for number 24, Nikita Mazepin. He's got a 3-second time penalty, so I've got that streak of going on to someone and kind of commentary and curse them, so I guess I'll keep that now from all the tiers I've commentated. Now add F2 to that. Sorry, B-Dunk. As Bidunk goes a little bit wide, but it looks like he's trying to gain as much grip as he possibly can to get out of the DRS zone of Bidunk, or I'm sorry, of FinFan. Now 12 seconds of time penalty, so it's not really going to do much track position-wise, but if he can get that time penalty, I'm sorry, that gap of the DRS, he's going to be a little bit more safer going through the rest of the lap. Now going on to, almost about to go on to the final lap of the Grand Prix, going through turn 6 inside of Port. He is 17 seconds, almost a full pit stop ahead of P2 and TRL Stig, but due to the fact that F2 has a different pit stop system and different pit stop times, that is not the case. But if it was Formula 1 pit stops, he would be close enough. But he already has the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He already has the full 26 points. What else would he want to gain? So then, around turn 13 into 14, down to 15, a quick little 3 complex of corners into 16, the penultimate corner. We now go on to the final lap of the Grand Prix here in Mexico City for the feature race of the Formula 2 Breakout Racing League Championship here at Mexico, with Undecided Port leading over Stig by a significant margin. Got the leader, 17 seconds between him and the ART. Fern in P3, with Taylor not too far behind, but due to the 9 seconds of time penalties, I don't think that is going to be too much of a factor. Behind him, Bidunk is about 5 seconds or so adrift. And FinFan is still trying to carry on his pressure on Bidunk and the high tech, but he has no time penalties. Bidunk does. At the moment, time penalties to Taylor will actually put him behind FinFan, and FinFan will be P4. Well then, no. While that all shakes out, we go to the other side of the track. It has been complete domination. He started from 9th, last on the grid. He didn't even need to show up. He already won the championship a week ago. He's been straight up dominant this entire season, and that doesn't change today. Leading from lights to flag almost. Technically he did because of the guys in front of him having drive-thrus, but you can't get any more dominant than this. Port comes around the funnel corner now into turn 17. He makes it a Mexican Grand Prix victory for Univirtuosi, and that is going to be a significant margin indeed. 18 seconds ahead of Stig in P2. Taylor does get around. He's going to try to fight for it. On track with Fern. Side by side through 13 and 14, but due to the penalties, Taylor's not going to get out. He's still going to go fight it for it, though. Through into 16, switch back into 17, on track. It looks like it's going to be drag race to the line, side by side. Taylor's going to grab him on track, but due to the penalties, Fern will stay ahead in the final podium place of the feature race. FinFan will get past Bidunk. Bidunk's actually spun around. He will get P6 for the Campos driver, but Bidunk, what could have been? He was going to get around this place anyway due to the 12 seconds of time penalties, but looks like it's come to an end. P6 for the high-tech driver, and coming from, well, P3, he'll start P3 again. Actually, he'll start P2 for the sprint race after it was a quite topsy-turvy day for Dams as well. Going from 1-3 to both jump starting. Now they're going to start about, what, 2-4 in the sprint race. We'll see how that turns out. P7 for Phantom in the feature. Driver of the day definitely goes to Undecided Port, going from last to first in a couple corners, and it has been quite a race indeed, and one deserving for Undecided Port, only getting the 26 points. Actually, sorry, the 28 points or so. Don't you get 2 laps? No. Don't you get 2? We'll see in a second, okay? I told you I'm new at this. But Port will grab pretty much the full sweep except for pole position of the feature race. He got the fastest lap, grabbed the victory and the driver of the day. If they gave points for that, he would have gotten that too. But that is great victory for Port, ahead of Stig and ahead of P. For what don't go, we still have more race, sprint race here in Formula 2. The reverse grid pole, we'll see 27 points goes to Undecided Port for this race. Stig Stig behind him in P2, grabs 18 points. Fern grabs P3. FinFan ahead of Taylor, ahead of B-Dunk, ahead of Phantom, and Ardell will be P8. Ron will grab P9. Those drivers, Ardell and Ron, did not grab any points since they did not finish the race. Ardell will start on reverse grid pole, with Phantom being P2. B-Dunk will be P3. Taylor will be P4. FinFan P5. P6 will be me and Fern. P7 will be Stig. And P8, he did it for 4. He did it in this race. Unsighted will start from the last row and the last spot of the grid, since Ron has left the session and I don't think will rejoin. Well then. Well, I'll have to make a pit stop here in the sprint race, so it's going to be all to play for. Can the drivers do it? Well then, on to the formation lap for the sprint race. 14 laps. You do not have to make a pit stop. And obviously Phantom showed you can take it the full distance. He went about 14 laps on his soft compounded tire, so it can be done. Ardell is on reverse sprint race pole with Phantom P2, B-Dunk P3, Taylor P4, FinFan P5, Mean Fern P6, Stig P7, Unsighted Port P8. Ron Swanson is P9, but I don't think is in the session. So, we saw a race ago in the feature race. Both dams actually started by jump-starting the race. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. They both led going down into turn 1, but they didn't keep it. So we'll see how that works out again. Now, Phantom and Taylor have actually switched positions. They were what were they? They were 1-3, now they're 2-4. And once again, they're start behind each other. Hopefully they don't react off each other and do the same thing they did a race ago. B-Dunk P3, let's see what he can do. He showed a lot of speed, just had a little bit some mistakes, and obviously getting caught up with the contact between FinFan. So we'll see if he can try to rebound and get a podium in the sprint race. FinFan has showed a lot of pace as well, especially he shows he can keep it out of the barriers as well as keeping it on the track and away from penalties. So we'll see what he can do in this sprint race as well. So we'll go from Ardell, from Phantom, from B-Dunk, from Taylor, from FinFan, from Fern, from Stig, from Port, from Ron. As we go now to Ron Swanson's Trident as he goes up around the final few corners. Now into the penultimate corner now. Behind he'll take the final spot in the 9th grid spot for the day here at Mexico for hopefully the final restart of the day. We now go to the light sequence, and it's now in the hands, or should I say foot, of the driver. The lights are on, and it's lights out, and away we go. That's a good start from Ardell. He's already alongside and through ahead of Phantom, but Phantom now has to worry about the P3. We've got B-Dunk. B-Dunk's not going to be drafting off of Ardell in P2. He's not going to go 3 wide over into turn 1. B-Dunk's going to go around the outside of Ardell. Can he try to make it move? 3 wide and 3 abreast over into turn 1. Now it's down to 2. Ardell on the inside, now the outside for turn 2. And B-Dunk, a little bit of contact with the two drivers, with the High-Tech and the Prima still side by side into turn 3. B-Dunk has the upper hand, ahead of Ardell, ahead of Phantom, ahead of Stig, ahead of FinFan, ahead of Unsighted Port. He's already up a couple positions. Fern from Taylor, from Ron. But B-Dunk and Ardell are still fighting. B-Dunk won't actually now grab it. That's contact, and around goes Ardell off the front wing of Phantom. Both drivers are around, and that is contact and drama. 3-second time penalty for Phantom for cutting many corners and corner cutting, especially because he tried to go over the grass. That is now going to be Taylor up into P6, Port 5th, Fern 4th, with Stig, Fin Fan, and B-Dunk. Yellow flag again, I believe that is Ardell. Is there damage to these drivers, though? That's the thing. This is either there's damage to the Prema, and there may be slight damage to Phantom as he spun the Prema off his front wing. So, the top two were the two I was talking about in the formation lap. They could possibly have a clean start. They could possibly show what they can do. B-Knock 1, FinFan 2, both newbies to Formula 2. It's exceeding track limits, and out of the session goes Ardell. And that is a safety car. That crashes at turn 13 in the stadium section. We do not have a camera angle I wish I could show you. On lap 2, though, the safety car will come out. That's going to keep the laps behind the safety car even smaller when it comes to the rest of the Grand Prix. Looks like Ron's AI is stuck behind the safety car. Now the safety car lets Ron's AI back through. So, after that hectic first lap, B-Dunk ahead of FinFan, ahead of Stig, Fern, Port. Port's gone up a couple positions, 3 to be exact, up from 8th to 5th, with Taylor in P6, Phantom P7, and Ron in P8 with Ardell, sadly crashing out of the race in turn 13. So, that being said, both Doms didn't get a good start again. They were 2-4, now they're 6-7. Once again, these two cars just not been able to get lap 1 right for both Taylor and Phantom. But there's still a long race ahead of them. There's no damage, there's no drive-thrus. The only damage to Phantom is that 3-second time penalty already applied to his race time. So, we'll have to see how that goes on, but the safety car will be picking them up at the exit of turn 3. They'll be picking up B-Dunk's High-Tech first, ahead of FinFan, Stig, Fern, Port, Taylor, Phantom, and Ron. You don't have to pit in the sprint race, so we may not see any drivers come into box, but they still have. Speaking of that, Port does come in. He'll take an advantage of this, because we obviously didn't have any drastic race changes in the feature race. So a front wing change from Port, as well as the Pirelli Super Softs tires onto the Univirtuosi. So we'll see what that can do. Everyone else is going to be on the softs. He's going to be on the Super Softs. That's going to be a big advantage to the Univirtuosi indeed. We'll see how that plays out. It's going to have around maybe 11 or 12 laps. Can they make it that long? If they can make it that long, this is a no-brainer for Port. So we'll have to see. We'll look at the position changes after after lap 1 into the safety car. B-Dunk is up 2 positions from 3rd to 1st. FinFan's up 3 from 5th to 2nd. Stig is up from 7th to 3rd. It was the outside, I guess, feature race pole, I guess. He started P7, so he's already up to P3. Fern has gone up 2 positions from 6th to 4th. Taylor went down a position. He went from 4th to 5th. And Phantom went down 4 from 2nd to 6th, with Ron going up 2 positions from 9th to 7th. Port started 8th. He is now 8th currently due to a pit stop. So we'll see how that plays out today. If you are in the chat, let us know here at the Breakout Racing League. Who do you think will be the podium sitters for today's sprint race? Will it be the 3 that is already on the podium right now with B-Dunk, FinFan, and Stig, or will it be someone else? Taylor's already coming to the pits. He's going to take advantage of the Super Softs as well. So it's now 2 drivers onto the Super Softs. Port's on one, Taylor's on the other. Can they make it through? So then Taylor needs to catch up to the back of the safety car. We'll go in next time by, and we'll have a 10-lap sprint to the end of the race. So that will be enough for the super soft tires to go to the end. So everyone will have a straight shot at the end of the Grand Prix. Hopefully no safety cars occur, and we'll see what happens from here. 8 drivers still left in the Grand Prix. See what they can do. Taylor's actually caught up, and now we have a full lap under the safety car. Drivers need to warm up their tires, warm up their brakes, keep them up to temperature, and be ready for the final full-fledged attack for 10 laps to go grab the sprint race podium. Alright. The safety car is in this time by. We'll have full 10 laps to go bring you the action here in the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. And that means B-Dunk has to back up the field to his progression and his own mindset. What can he do? When will he go? What will he do to make sure no one else can get the jump on him? That's what you have to do as the safety car leader. Around the final corner now. B-Dunk still weaving. At one point, will he go? He's gone now. That's a great jump from Stig, though. He's already up on the back of FinFan. He's going to be now with among the rear wing. He's going to try to go to grab the toe and try to go into turn 1. Can he try to grab it? He's going to pull to the right-hand side. Now he's going to have a brick of wall air, I guess you could say, whenever you come, not a car in front of you punching the hole through the air. FinFan punching almost into the rear wing of B-Dunk. But look at that. Fern went around the outside of Stig without even me knowing. So Fern is now going to try to go attack Stig. Stig didn't get a good exit of the restart and through turn 3. But no, look now. Here comes that's come Phantom. He's going to try to figure out what he can do around these two drivers. Fern late on the brakes under the turn 4, locking up both tires, trying to get the car stopped and slowed down. He's going to get it slowed down enough. He's going to go overtake Stig into P3. It's now B-Dunk from FinFan from Fern. Stig's now looking at it. That's going to be Phantom trying to go over, clambering over the curbs. Unsighted Port and Taylor now have to wait and try to figure out a way through, both on these super soft tires. Only drivers that are on a different compounded tire. What can they do? Phantom goes a little bit wide through the S's into turn 10 into 11. Phantom is going to have to worry about that. Here comes Unsighted Port. And don't look now, here comes Taylor, his teammate, down into turn 12. Are they going to have some team play? No. Phantom still goes. A little bit of contact on the rear wing of the Unsighted Port machine. And trying to cover him off. That's going to be contact. Phantom. And contact been made. And that's a Unsighted Pipe and more around. Wow, I just pushed that one. Unsighted Port has been spun round by both damn cars. Takes the fastest lap, 27.5. It looks like contact was made between both Phantom and Taylor, pushing each other into the Univirtuosi car and spinning him around through turn 13. The drama through that corner has not been anything short of sweet this entire race. You saw Ardell crashing out there, and now you saw Port been spinning up there by both Dams cars and his old championship rival in Taylor. So now it's beat up from FinFan from Fern, with Stig about 0.4 of a second behind Fern, trying to go grab P3 away. Taylor, he's 1.6 behind. Can he try to grab in this fight for a podium spot? Fern goes way too deep through turn 4. He's going to compromise the line through 5. Here comes the switchback for Stig. He's going to try to go but too early on the power, though. He's going to try to go on the inside of turn 6. Not enough space. He has to give out of it, and Fern will still hold on to P3. Ahead of Stig, ahead of Taylor, but a little bit further back is Ron and Port. No damage to any of these drivers, though, with Phantom being in P8. So Fern now has to hold on. He's trying his best to hold on ahead of Stig. He already held on for P3 ahead of many a driver's last race of the feature race and grabbed that P3 with Stig getting P2. B Dunk and Finfan were actually one of those two he held off from. Port gets ahead of Ron and now up into P6. He's now going to have to chase down Taylor and the other dams. See what he can do. But Taylor's not too far off. Finfan grabs the fastest lap, 27.1. He's going to try to go the best he can. That's the fastest lap for Taylor now, 26.4. Not too far off. That's a 26.3 for Unsighted Port. He's not taking any names either. Here comes Taylor. He's now has the draft and the slipstream from Stig ahead. Now down the inside of turn 1. Can he get it done? Looks like pinching him into the corner goes Stig. Still side by side, and Stig's going to have to eventually give way. And that's going to be Taylor up into 4th. He's now going to have to chase down Fern on those super soft tires. He has the freshest tires in the field. He better be making these moves. He wants to, but he's not done yet. Stig going to run the outside of turn 4. He's going to try to keep looking, going to keep fighting for that P4, but it's not done yet, and it's now over. Taylor holds the place over Stig in P5 for the ART. But Taylor's not done yet. He's now not too far off on the back of Mean Fern, about 0.6 of a second behind the MP. Fern goes a little bit wide through into 7, now into 8, now into 9. Fern once again still wide. Taylor has the better line. Now he has the DRS with the ART, a little dropping back behind him as Stig. But here he goes, 0.3 of a second behind the MP. Fern goes a little bit wide again. Is Taylor going to make a move into 13? No, he's not going to wait for the DRS straight. That's wise for the Dams driver. He's going to keep it up. Phantom gets past Ron, up to P7 for the other Dams. Speaking of one, Fern takes it tight, trying to break the slipstream as much as he can, and it worked. Taylor had a big of a moment. Not once, but twice through turn 17. Taylor's going to keep on it, though. He has the DRS. He has the slipstream. He's going to try to go down. Where's he going to go? Is he going to go to the left-hand side? He's going to go to the right-hand side. Fern moves once. He moves again. Here goes Taylor, though. He's down to the inside again like he did with Stig. Fern laid on the brakes once we saw a race ago, but Fern once more has to yield to the position. But don't look now. Stig's not too far away, too. He's going to have a better run than Fern. But Fern's not going to have the DRS. Stig is. Here comes Stig. Where he go? He's going to go to the left-hand side on Fern. He's going to try to get past Fern up to P4. He's not going to try to go for it, though. Fern's laid on the brakes again. Fern's going to keep it there. He's going to hit the inside for turn 5. He's going to still be there. He's actually going to stay ahead of stay ahead of Stig, but Fern goes too deep. Through turn 6, he locks up, goes off the track. Stig's now going to be side-by-side with Fern going into turn 7. Are they going to keep it side-by-side? No, they won't. Fern backs out of it. Stig up to P4. And all this happening, Unsighted Port's there. Unsighted Port is closing, and he wants to make amends. He wants some revenge. He was spun round. He wants to prove that it was a mistake that he was even close to those guys. He now has his head down, trying to chase them up. That's going wide as Fern going through turn 13. I'm sorry, going through turn 12. But look now, here comes Unsighted Port. He's not too far behind. 0.4 of a second behind Fern. Can he get him on this straightaway? The faster he can clear of Fern, he can go up to Stig. Faster he can clear of Stig, he can go after Taylor. Fans will get a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings and track extensions. That's going to affect his race, but not as much. As long as he does not have as many penalties. He has 6 seconds. He needs to find about a 4-second gap. Fern was close to thinking about a move on Stig, but wasn't close enough. Stig stays ahead of Fern. Port's trying to get past both of them. He has a better run through 3 and 4. Through 2 and 3. He's going to have a better run through from Fern. Can he try to go down the inside? No, he's not going to have enough time. Fern's going to go defensive, trying to think of a move into 4. Stig is just too far in front. The cutback. Here comes Unsighted Port on the outside. Pinches Fern in. Still pinches him in, trying to make sure he does not get the best run off the corner. Port's going to go around the outside. Just not enough space. He stays in P6. Fern's now chasing after Stig. Stig is still trying to get his grips back after he was overtaken by Taylor. Ever since he was overtaken by the Dams, it doesn't look like he's had as much pace. Maybe a little bit of dirty air has kicked in, and his tire wear is not going to be the same. Fern goes a little bit wide through 11. He's going to have the DRS. Here comes Port. He's going to look to the left-hand side. He's going to go on the outside thinking about it. No, Fern's going to go too deep. Here comes Port. He's going to switch back and throw into 13, side by side. This is almost reminiscent of how it happened when he was spun round. He's going to keep it, though. No contact this time. And Port, this time, will go around the outside of 13 and into 5th. And Fern will go a little bit wide through 16 into 17 and will now have to concede the place. 1.5 seconds, though, is the gap between Port and Stig. So Fern will actually get DRS. Will Fern fight back? We'll have to see. He's closing on the University OC. He's closing on the University OC. Port's trying to break the slipstream. He's not going to be close enough. Here comes Fern. He's going to go down the inside again, but University OC of Inside Port was later on the brakes than Fern, which is weird to say because Fern has been outbraking everyone today, but it's not been good enough. Port stays in P5. He's going to have the DRS again, but he's just too far back this time. Well, with all of that happening, the guys up front, FinFan and B-Dunk, are about 0.4 of a second away from each other. They're trying to figure out a way to keep pulling away from Taylor. 2.5 seconds or so is the gap between them and the Dams of Taylor Clan 2008. He had a poor first race. Both Dams drivers did, to be honest. And they're trying to redeem that for Taylor with this super soft run. But at the moment, it doesn't look like it's working off too well, as he cannot seem to gain enough on FinFan and B-Dunk as everyone else is expecting. Well, then again, B-Dunk now has to worry about this. He's about 0.6 behind, I'm sorry, ahead of FinFan, and he has the DRS this time. Will FinFan make a lunge? We're going up to about 3 laps to go. The DRS for the Campos. He's closing in on the high tech. He's closing in more. Is he going to get there? He's going to look like he's going to get close. Is he going to make the move? Yes, he will. Lake send from the Campos down the inside of turn 1. Contact been made. He's been spun around. FinFan has. That's not good at all. Taylor takes over P2. Stig takes over P3. With Port now to P4. Port has a chance for a podium after being spun around at turn 13 not too long ago. Phantom now has a 3-second time penalty again. I believe that says 9th. Yes, that is 9 seconds of time penalties for Phantom. He now has to gain more time to the Trident of Ron, but cannot do it at the moment with about 3 or 2.5 laps to go. Now it's been all changed on its head. B-Dunk was about to be overtaken, then it turned into FinFan spinning. Now Taylor is in the mood, trying to go chase after. He's like a shark in the water. He sees blood. He wants to go after B-Dunk. He's about 2 seconds dead. He was closing in. He's closing in more. He wants this win. He wants redemption from the sprint race. I'm sorry, the feature race. He doesn't want to mess this one up. He's going to go for it, though. He's gained a significant amount of time. He was 2.5 seconds not too long ago. Now he's 1.7. Taylor is pushing everything he has. 2 laps to go in the sprint race. They call it a sprint race for a reason, because everything goes out the window. Taylor's now proving that point perfectly. Port now, he's going to be within DRS of Stig. Is he going to be close enough? He has the DRS. He's going to be close enough. He's gaining. Is he not? He's not close enough. He's not close enough on the ART of Stig to get him this time by. But if he gets a good turn 1, 2, 3, he could possibly get it into turn 4. Here we go, though. A better run. Looks like it does go to Stig. Stig gets a better drive off. And here comes the DRS from Unsighted Port and the University OC team. He's not close enough so far unless he makes a big dive around the outside of Stig. Stig goes defensive, closes the door, and changes his mind before he even thought about it. 2 seconds, though, is the gap between Taylor and B-Dunk. Penalties will not decide how it is. Stig gets a little bit squirrely on the throttle. He will try to go defensive into turn 6, but obviously has to back out of it. Unsighted Port does. Into turn 7 now we go. The Dirty Air is going to come back to haunt the University OC being this close to the ART, but how close can he get without getting the Dirty Air to affect him? Well, we'll have to figure that one out. He'll still be with the DRS, about 0.4 of a second. We're about to go on to the final lap of the Grand Prix, but don't look now. Taylor's actually closed a little bit more on B-Dunk. There's no penalties to settle this. This is going to be raw on pace. 1.8. Can Taylor get it in 1 lap? He has about 3 or so miles to do so. We now go on to the final lap of the Grand Prix. B-Dunk in his first race here in Formula 2 in Season 6. Can he grab a pole position worthy, trademark, a sprint race victory? Can he get it? 1.9 seconds ahead of Taylor. Stig, he's going to try to go for it. Here comes Port. Port is going to pinch him to the left-hand side. He's not going to get it, though. He's going to go out-break the ART. The ART of Stig is going to keep his nose there, but has to back out of it. And Stig's now going to have a 3-second time penalty. That's now going to hurt his race even more. That means FinFan could be in the chance for a P4. Can he get it, though? It's going to be enough time. Is there going to be enough time for Port to catch Taylor? Is there going to be enough time for FinFan to get as close as he can to Stig without cutting the track and getting a penalty of himself? We'll have to figure that one out. 1.8 seconds. Taylor doesn't look like he's gaining much at all. It was gaining quite a significant amount. It's kind of dropped off now. 1.5. It's just not close enough. There's a puncture! Taylor has a puncture! Oh no! How close is he to the line? Can he nurse it around? B-Dunk will have it easily in the bag as Taylor goes through the stadium section. B-Dunk comes around the final corner. He wins the sprint race in Mexico. He wins in Formula 2. And Port, he'll go around the outside. Taylor's just so close, but not close enough. Port gets P2, Stig P3. Taylor gets a podium because of Stig's penalty. With the puncture, Taylor comes on to finish P3. Byrne P4, Stig P5, FinFan P6. Ron comes across to finish P7. And Phantom looks like he's pushing for fastest lap, trying to go and get that point away. Right now, it's taken by Unsighted Port in the Univirtuosi. He needs about 1.6 seconds. Can he get it? This Phantom has the pace. We saw it through qualifying. And we saw it early on in the race before the mistakes were happening. Can he grab the fastest lap away from the Univirtuosi? Yes, he can. What a finish. Well then, B-Dunk in his debut race got so close to a podium, but wasn't close enough. But his first debut sprint race in Season 6 of the Formula 2 Championship here in Breakout Racing League, he grabs the victory ahead of Unsighted Port in the Univirtuosi, who, by the way, was spun out at the beginning of this race in 8th. Once again, last to first for Unsighted Port. And 3rd, winning. Oh, that was so close of a race it was. But Taylor grabs a puncture on the final lap of the Grand Prix and gets P3 anyway. Well, the weekend results, Port, Stig, and Taylor will be the 3 we interview today. Can someone invite Sting, by the way? Rude. Yeah, we know.
I don't know.
Someone invite Stig. I'll get the rest of it. Actually, I'll get it now. So whenever Stig joins, we'll do Taylor, we'll do Stig, and then we'll go to... Alrighty then, that was a hectic race, and not just the race, but the feature race as well. Let's start with Taylor in the dams. Well, let's go from the beginning. You got the pole position, but in the end, it really didn't matter. You jump-started off the start of the line with your teammate and had to pretty much play catch-up the rest of the feature race. How did that go for you? Obviously, I know you weren't too happy about that.
First of all, I blame Phantom. We were talking about how much he makes on a weekly basis, and I don't know what word I said, but whatever word I said, it made us both jump start. So, I blame him, first of all. And then, yeah, the second race, going fine. Until I got a puncture when I hit 79%. Classic F2 tire problems.
Well, obviously you went over it. The second race, it was almost the same. I mean, you both started 2-4, but then all of a sudden at the end of the safety car, you were then 6-7. You bolted on the super softs and had to go to the end, which was a very big gamble indeed. And obviously it came back to bite you, but you still got the podium in the end. Was there anything you would have done differently?
No, I didn't want to leave port alone in the range, so I drove
Oh.
in.
Ironically, you're the one who got one.
Yeah. Alrighty then. Well, congrats to your weekend results. You have the third best points scoring, I guess you could say, from the weekend. Alright then, let's go to P2. Stig, obviously you got your you got the podium in the feature race, and it all came crumbling down in the sprint race. What would you do differently in the feature race that you would have done?
Tried to push harder. Try to get to port in the feature. For sure. Sorry, I'm very light-worded.
That's fine. That's fine. But in the sprint race, obviously you had the penalty, and I saw you hinted you wanted that being probably looked at by the stewards. What do you think, from your point of view, was what was wrong with it?
It was just for position. I was on the inside of port, and I don't want to say I got squeezed off. I got squeezed off. And ended up giving me a penalty.
Well, we'll have to look at the stewards and see what their results are from that decision. But once again, you are now the second. You have gained the second most points of this race weekend. Congratulations on that and your podium for the feature race.
Thank you.
And now we go to God. You can't win enough, can you? I mean, do you ever just save anything for anyone else? I mean, you won the championship, then you won the feature race by like 18 seconds, and you even had to boast at the end of the. I saw that. Well, how did that go? Obviously, you pretty much won in almost dominating fashion in the feature race. I don't think you pretty much could have done anything differently if you tried. It just always worked.
Yeah, that feature race was totally redemption for Japan. I was driving with a chip on my shoulder after that DNF to one blemish on my near perfect point scoring season. So that's really annoying. So that's kind of why I went off on the feature race. In the sprint race, I got wing damage in the chaos of lap one. So I was kind of just like, screw it, I'm gonna go pit. So then I pit, and that safety car staying out a couple extra laps saved me. I totally would have gotten a puncture. But yeah, it was fun. I was just kind of vibing in the sprint race.
Well, I mean, obviously I said you couldn't do anything wrong in the feature race, but the same thing happened in the sprint. You basically started last both races, both the sprint and the feature, and you pretty much were in the top two spots, the podium, both times.
Yeah, I don't know why. I hate Mexico. Like, I do not like driving here, but I guess I had pace. So.
Oh, there's the excuse. Well, you once again, God, how many times has Flanders said this season? You've got the most points from the weekend. Congratulations on your win and your P2 in both the sprint and the feature race, respectively. But that'll pretty much do it from myself, Hey Catcher, up in the booth, and everyone in the Formula 2 Championship here in the Breakout Racing League. Tune in next time at Brazil for the final race at F2, the final two races actually, at the sprint and the feature race at Sao Paulo. We'll see what these F2 cars can do at the famous track at Sao Paulo. It'll be fun indeed to watch. We'll see if Port gets another win. Bore, sad pain. I'm joking. It was very exciting and very entertaining for myself, and I would gladly do it again. But like I said, for myself, Hey Catcher, up in the booth, and everyone in the Formula 2 Championship, we wish you a good night.